30 more seconds here to see if anyone is coming in.
And I did hit the record button, so we're ready when your 30 seconds is up.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, well, let's get started here. So thank you for coming today. Today we'll be covering the topic of stress and self-care. Stress is a common part of life, whether it be good or bad stress. So helping us to see stress as what it is can help us understand how to better deal with the constant changes and obstacles life throws at us. I'll be giving you a brief overview of what stress is, the causes and signs and symptoms, and then Kyle will be providing you all with some self-care and stress management techniques that you can all take home with you and apply into your lives. So, what is stress? Stress is a normal psychological and physical reaction to the demands of life. As your mind perceives threats or even excitement, your adrenal glands make and release the hormone cortisol in your bloodstream. This is often called the stress hormone. Cortisol causes an increase in your heart rate and blood pressure and is your natural flight and fight response that has kept us humans alive for thousands of years. So stress can be good because it has indeed kept us alive and why we're here today. Normal levels of cortisol when released are released when you wake up, when you exercise, and normal levels can help regulate your blood pressure and blood sugar levels and even strengthen your heart muscle. In small doses, the hormone can heighten memory, increase your immune system, and lower sensitivity to pain. But when that perceived threat becomes chronic and cortisol levels are constantly being increased, that is when we run into issues such as hypertension, headache, anxiety, intestinal issues, and other health concerns. It is important to realize that stress is a lifestyle factor and a fact of life that we all face, and how we'll react to it will either help us or hurt us. So the causes of stress, what are the things that in our life cause the hormone cortisol to be released into our bloodstream that gives us that heart rate and blood pressure increase? Kind of like mentioned earlier, it can be due to excitement. For instance, the excitement of watching your favorite team score the game-winning goal or touchdown, go Vikings, or the excitement of making plans with a close friend. These are all causes of stress that are good stress or the eustress. We were talking about bad stress or distress. These are causes or factors that can be creating chronic cortisol release at unhealthy levels. So as listed here, the causes can be work, financial situation, death of a loved one, emotional problems, taking care of a sick or elderly family member, a traumatic event of any sorts, divorce, or setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. The list can kind of go on and on. And looking at this list, it is important to know that we can do things and prioritize certain things in our life to help manage our stress throughout these situations. The example of work comes to mind. Work can be a big cause of stress, but it isn't something that we can simply fully eliminate. It is very possible for work to be a good stress because of the excitement of productivity, finishing a project, getting the job if you're in an interview, or maybe you're stressing out about presenting at a stress webinar. Whatever it may be, that can still lead to that product of feeling accomplished and good about yourself. That is why we'll be going over some of those techniques shortly. You can take this home or to work with you. Before we do that, though, I'm going to go over some of the signs and symptoms of being overstressed. So stress is both physical and emotional, an emotional or mental event with a wide variety of symptoms. Physical stress could be in the form of aches and pains, headaches, or even increased or decreased appetite. Mental or emotional stress can include excessive worrying, mood swings, difficulty concentrating, and just constantly feeling overwhelmed. Something also worth mentioning is that when you get access to this slide, we will also include a couple of slides that go into more detail about the specific impact stress can play on each organ system in our body. And that's if you're interested in knowing more about some of those physiological responses to stress. Another thing that I feel like was worth mentioning that changed my understanding of what stress is when was made at a lecture that I attended a few years back. And that is our body's physical and physiological response to a stressful situation, such as like our ancestors, like in a life-threatening situation, like fighting a lion, is the exact same response as if we were running late for a meeting. In context, both situations are much different, but our body's response hasn't necessarily fully evolved to know this. So being able to counter this reaction with stress management and self-care techniques can help us get out of that consistent state of flight or fight. So if you're consistently feeling any of these symptoms, signs and symptoms that are on the list here, headaches, grinding teeth, or forgetfulness, disorganization that you can see here, that might be a sign that you are indeed overstressed and could utilize some of these self-care strategies that Kyle will be discussing. So I will hand the mic over to Kyle to give us some more of some more things that we can take home with us and use throughout our lives.
Excellent. So yeah, stress and self-care really go hand in hand. Self-care can help combat your stress and help reset your mind and body. Adding self-care to your daily schedule or into your life can really make an impact on you as well as your actions and behaviors towards others. So as Isaac and I were discussing this topic, we really wanted to emphasize this statement. I am a better person when I, and it's something that you can ask yourself daily or maybe weekly. This simple statement can lead you toward taking action in some sort of self-care technique that helps you in the way you need it most. Again, the focus is on you and getting you back to a comfortable mental and physical equilibrium, but it can also radiate to others, your coworkers, maybe clients that you work with, family, friends, even your children and how you approach your children as well. A rejuvenated mind and body will be able to approach situations with positivity and clarity. So some people may think that self-care is selfish, and that's a little bit of the stigma that we are finding with this aspect of self-care. But I do think it is becoming less of a stigma as we become more aware, more exposed, and accept and acknowledge the aspect of kind of that mental health. So taking time for yourself does seem selfish, but the big difference, at least how I look at it, is the difference in the lack of consideration for others. And that's the big difference between selfish versus self-care. So I want you to think of a time that you may have been stressed and maybe you came home and projected those feelings negatively towards your significant other. Now play out what would have happened if you gave yourself maybe 5 minutes of a stress relieving activity. Would you have acted differently? So again, ask yourself, I am a better person when I, and again, don't feel that taking time for yourself, self-care, is selfish, because again, the big aspect is you are actually, by improving yourself, you are helping to push or be more positive and think more clearly when it comes to others or other situations. So as we move into strategies and techniques for stress management and self-care, know that techniques can look different for each person. Some may be physical, some are mental techniques. Others do small things in short periods of time, whereas some do one large thing, maybe less frequently. Remember, though, that not all strategies will eliminate what is causing you stress or getting you back to that mental and physical equilibrium. You may still need to create an action plan toward what is causing that rise in your state of mind. But after you do your self-care activity, you should have better mental clarity to create that action plan and take care of what matters most. So self-care doesn't have to cost money. I know for me, maybe you as well, when I hear or say the term self-care, the image in my mind automatically goes to a spa type facility, maybe a massage or hot stones. That massage facility might have that serene music with the little dings and chimes. Might be sitting in a sauna, but that's honestly just a stereotype. Your self-care could be sitting in your car in your work's parking lot and doing breathing exercises for 5 minutes before you drive home. For some people, self-care could be sitting down and planning out their tasks for the next day to have a clear plan and approach. I know some of my friends who they will wake up in the morning and before they get out of bed, they say out loud three things that they are grateful for. That morning practice of gratitude can help set the mind in a positive direction for the day. Again, your activity or technique doesn't need to cost anything. It can be simple, maybe short duration that clears your mind, or it might be one thing that you do for a little bit longer duration, again, that clears your mind and refreshes your body. So getting into some of those techniques, and there are many different techniques and strategies that you can use to combat stress or that self-care that we're talking about here. Again, certain techniques work for certain people. It may take some trial and error to find what works for you to relieve stress. Always consider both elements, techniques for the mind, techniques for the body. There are some that do combine both, so things like maybe yoga or Tai Chi. So for me, my techniques may seem counterintuitive, but again, they work for me, and this is my approach. So if I'm feeling stressed or if I need some self-care time, I like to maybe listen to my favorite type of music and really loud, where if I'm at home, the neighbors can hear me, or if I'm driving home, the cars on either side of me can hear me through closed windows. I might sing, I might dance a little bit as well. Maybe if I don't feel like listening to music, I might actually have a conversation with myself. I do like to talk to myself out loud. And it's a great way for me to discuss different angles or even different perspectives on situations. If it's something that I'm talking to myself about a task or things I need to do, I'm trying to create an action plan as well, if warranted. Or one of the last techniques that I do is simply finding one of my 3 cats. And I know for those that do my flex breaks, you have seen my annoying coworker. You may have seen my my supervisor. And yes, I go find one of them wherever they might be. And I might spend a few minutes petting with them. I might lay my head on them while they're sleeping. Just that kind of calming aura or an energy that my cats have, for some reason, kind of radiates to me, and then I can kind of calm myself down, and again, creating that action plan or getting back to what I need to do just with that clear mind. So again, there's a lot of different self-care, stress relief exercises, techniques, strategies that you create what and how you provide that self-care and that stress management for yourself. So there are additional tools and resources that we have that's available to you as Medtronic employees, whether it's through Healthier Together, and I believe a lot of our stuff can be found through the Healthier Together application. So I highly suggest, if you don't use Healthier Together, I would highly suggest utilizing that. I know that there are some contractors that are participating in this program, and I'm sorry to say that it is only for Medtronic employees, but our YouTube channel, which some of these links on this slide will link towards that free for everyone, the world videos that we have created. So mental well-being playlist, there's different guided meditations, different kind of self-care type mindfulness tools. And if maybe exercise is your self-care routine, there's exercise videos, different fit breaks, as well as even stretching opportunities as well. And then in regard to stretch breaks or flex breaks, you can join the virtual flex breaks that I was just talking about. And you might get to see my cats when I'm at home working from home. Or like I said, we have also Zoom invite guided meditation. So those links should take you to the calendar downloads or to that correct spot for videos and whatnot. So let's move into week 7 homework and the 5 minutes of fitness. And today I get to take you through that. Isaac gets a little bit of break where he doesn't have to demonstrate an exercise. So for this week, your homework. First one is the manage your pressure worksheet. And this will get sent out and attached to the follow-up email. Fill that out. Great little tool, great little resource to kind of find out and see, what your pressures are. I don't know if many of you heard that, but Isaac and I were discussing before we hit record and before we started that stress can also be maybe viewed in a little different perspective as pressure. So great little worksheet there. And then throughout the week this week, complete 2 self-care techniques. And again, that's your choosing. That's what might fit you the best. So yeah, the manage your pressure worksheet and complete 2 self-care techniques this week. And then the 5 minutes of fitness. And I forgot to change the title. Let me stop sharing. This week is skaters or skater hops. Kind of a fun exercise, works the glutes and the lower body, especially the glute medius, muscle that we don't really spend a lot of time on. But for me as a former hockey strength and conditioning coach, it's one that we would target quite a bit. So let me get reorganized here so that way I'm in a better spot for demonstrating skaters in this small office. All right. So I get to crouch down a little bit again. Skaters is a athletic position oriented exercise. And that's one of the big things for one of the cues is to try to maintain that athletic position. So knees bent, hips bent at the hip as well, that little bit of forward lean as if you are ready and actively ready to move. So finding that comfortable athletic position. When it comes to this exercise, we're moving side to side, so you need a little bit of real estate left to right. The first of the 3 progressions, and these are linked in that video on your 5 minutes of fitness handbook. The first one is just I call it more of a horizontal movement, where you are moving from left to right and just pushing through the ground, extending out and staying low to the floor. There's no jump. It's a very low, it's a lower impact option. So as you go side to side, you maintain that athletic position and swinging your arms with your steps or with your strides. Now, the other cue that is important, and especially as we get into more kind of that higher impact or progressing this exercise, is that catch, that absorption, that cushioning through your joints. So second progression is going a little bit faster. Now, as you go from side to side a little bit faster, you want to make sure that you are catching and absorbing that step and that impact through those 3 joints of your body, your ankles, your knees, and your hip. All again, while maintaining that athletic position. So again, option, that increased option, intermediate, if you will, is just that faster pace. And then the third one, this is where we get a little bit more higher impact, and where that cushion, that absorption aspect really comes into play. And that is doing the skaters with a leap or a hop. I usually like to say a bound from one foot to the other. So as you do this one, I'm going to make sure I don't jump into the walls here, but you're pushing through the ground and going a little bit more vertical as well as horizontal with each of your strides. So this is the ultimate skater here, going from left to right. Now, balance is a big thing here. Always, if you need to, feel free to step and place that foot down just to gather yourself before you push off again, and really trying to emphasize that side of the glute. So I think that kind of covers the skaters. Isaac, do you have anything to include, or if you want me to demonstrate more stuff?
No, I'll let you off the hook there. As much as I want to keep you seeing you do skater after skater. So I just think,
well,
good, yeah, good to say that it utilizes that glute medius, which is a really important muscle to like for overall hip mobility. So yeah, good stuff.
excellent. So yeah, that is the 5 minutes of fitness. Again, on the handbook, there are, I believe, 3 different iterations of how you can approach your 5 minutes. But again, feel free. At this point, it's week 7. I'm sure you guys are masters at the 5 minutes of fitness exercises. But what I do want to leave you with here, as we conclude the stress and self-care webinar for week 7, is that slide that I had up before. That question, that statement of I am a better person when I. Write this down, keep it in front of you, lock it in your brain, and try to have it as kind of almost a personal mantra. I am a better person when I pet my cats. I am a better person when I go for a walk around my facility for 10 minutes. I am a better person when I. So big takeaway there, utilize it and help just bring more positivity, help clear your mind, refresh your body. Again, that's self-care, taking care of yourself. So that is it for us today. Thanks everyone for joining week 7.